Welcome back to Alliance's Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Alliances, visit www.alliances.com.
That's right. And welcome back to the show, too. And thank you. Keep the feedback coming. I got recent feedback already coming when I interviewed the founder of MSNBC. So make sure that you go to the only place where entrepreneurs align, Alliances.com. That's ELIANCES.com. So let's get started with our next guest. What a background he has. It's phenomenal. I mean, we could spend like hours just talking about his career, but we're going to talk about what he's doing now. So welcome to the show, Steven Stokols, CEO of Boost Mobile. That's over 8 million subscribers and over 4 billion in annual revenue. So you can reach them by going to boostmobile.com. All right. So, I mean, Steven, you've got just such a phenomenal background and stuff. Why don't you just kind of quickly just highlight some of those things and then where you got to where you are now today? Because you got a phenomenal career.
Yeah, I'll make it quick. I appreciate it. You might be overhyping it a little bit, but I got a unique blend of sort of both startup and big company experience. So currently, I'm CEO of Boost Mobile, as you alluded to. It's a big company, thousands of employees, billions in revenue. Prior to that, I actually started a company, raised a couple $100 million in financing for a digital-only MVNO telco called Freedom Pop, which sold in 2019. And prior to that, a very senior exec at British Telecom, and then I actually started an online dating company. So like I said, it's a mix of entrepreneurs and a big exec, which is it's a little atypical. Generally, it's kind of one path or the other, but I think kind of the blend is maybe better at both.
Right, absolutely. I mean, from going to startups, executive roles, I mean, really across the board. And I mean, this is a big role now that you've got as CEO of Boost Mobile. Like you said, thousands of employees managing $4 billion in annual revenue.
Yeah, hopefully more than that as we grow. So
that's right. And you will after this show, because more and more people are going to know about you and know about Boost Mobile. So again, make sure you go to boostmobile.com. So talk to us a little bit about the creation of Freedom Pop.
Yeah, so Freedom Pop is actually born out of, so as I alluded to, I was the pretty senior executive at British Telecom in the telecom space. I left that to start a company that essentially was meant to be a speed dating platform for recruiters, where recruiters could vet candidates. We opened it up to the public, and before I knew it, I had 10 million people using it for dating. So unbeknownst to myself, I ended up being the CEO of a dating company, an online dating company, back in 2007, 2008, when video was first emerging. Sold that in 2007, and then Freedom Pop was a convergence of telco and digital. It was the first sort of webco, I called it. We took all the stuff I learned about online digital, the online dating space, the armpit of the internet, really. It's very competitive. Married that with telco to create an internet business model. We were giving away free voice, text, and data, and then upselling people on value-added services. And Freedom Pop really took off. Millions of subscribers. Ended up going global. We expanded to Spain, the UK, parts of France. And like I said, that was the first real digital-only telco. And we sort of created the blueprint for what now exists today, where you see a lot more going online and less going offline. Boost Mobile obviously is going to follow that same trajectory.
All right, so now let's talk about Boost Mobile. And again, we've got Steven Stokols with us, CEO of Boost Mobile, over 8 million subscribers, $4 billion in annual revenue, boostmobile.com. And of course, you're listening to me, David Kogan, host of the Alliance's Hero Show. So talk to us about now Boost Mobile, because exactly what is it?
So Boost Mobile is a wireless provider. Now, what makes Boost unique is two things. One, we have much lower pricing than Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. Significantly lower, in the tunes of 30. We got unlimited plans that would cost $60 or $70 on the big three for $25 a month. By far, BS, no gimmicks. There's no strings attached. It's $25 a month unlimited. So significantly cheaper and more compelling. We actually are riding on the backs of the big networks. So we have deals with T-Mobile. We have deals with AT&T. So you're getting the best of those networks, depending on where you're at literally half the price.
That's phenomenal. And so, as you continue to grow, do you have other added things that will be added on, or that people can add on, and that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. Because when we look at it, we say, look, we're coming in with the no frills, the lowest price on wireless you can get. Why are we doing that? We're not making much money on wireless. We're actually passing on wholesale costs essentially. But what we hope to do is be able to establish relationships with the customer and then start selling or upselling additional value-added services that are really unique. And to give you an example, we launched a healthcare product, digital access telemedicine. So free access to a doctor 24/7 plus an AI sort of diagnosis. And again, if you're a Boost Mobile subscriber, you get that for $5 a month. Otherwise, it would be 15 to 20, or even if you go to some of the Walgreens, et cetera, that can be as much as 50. So we're basically coming in and saying, look, we're going to give you basically at cost telco services that you can get cheaper than anywhere else in the market. And then we'd like to start providing the right services that customers want across areas that are specific to us. Telemedicine obviously relies on your phone. It's integrated. It's seamless. There's cases to move into digital banking on top of that, where you can. So we're looking to actually expand. Privacy and protection is one that we're going to launch in the coming weeks as well, where we will have integrated into the service the ability to block spam calls, protect yourself from hackers. So those are the types of services we want to get after.
I was just going to ask you about that, especially with all the political texts that I get, multiple ones a day. We got to figure out a solution for that, Stephen. You got to figure it out.
It's coming. So we are weeks away from our privacy bundle. Again, $5 a month, and you're going to get protection. All that spam call you get, all the political stuff, all the analysts trying to sell you some penny stocks, all screened out. And then more importantly, you hear about the Coinbase hacks and people you'll have protection from all the hackers, et cetera. So this privacy solution, it's coming, it's needed, customers want it, but that's exactly the type of service that we want to be able to kind of upsell. And by giving you away, so that's coming. And
absolutely, we'll I'd write a blank check for that, just to have to stop that annoying stuff, so I can get actually my text that I'm expecting from people and the calls that I'm expecting.
You don't even have to do that. It's going to be $5 a month, and by the way, you're probably going to get the first month's, the first 3 months will be free. So.
And how does somebody then go about? Do you have stores, or do they do it everything online? How does that work?
So that's a good question. So Boost Mobile actually has over 4,000 stores across the country. Now, most of those stores are in sort of urban markets. You look at Houston, Chicago, LA. So stores are NFL cities, but we got over 4,000 locations, and we are growing the digital business. When I took it over less than 2 years ago, Boost Mobile had a very anemic, if any, digital business, but that is now growing at a pretty rapid pace. So we are getting much better online, and ultimately the direct-to-consumer online play is really where we're going to prosper.
All right, so Stephen, some of the questions that we had when people did look up and know your background and stuff is, given your wealth of background and leadership roles that you've had, very extreme successful career, and startup, and now again CEO of a $4 billion company, what's the common thread that you learned that you got so good at what you're getting at, and how can others learn that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's some commonality, whether it be a big company or a small company, right? And one of them comes down to what I call the details. And it's not the Steve Jobs cliche, getting into the details of a product, but it's really sort of understanding what the details of what's going to make something successful. So for example, if we talk about Boost Mobile and $25 a month, $25 a month is a headline proposition that is by far the most compelling in the market. That said, why is everybody not, on your show, not running to go get it right now? You should be, if you're, a rational economic being. And so details are how we actually going to get distribution in place, how we're going to get that offer in front of your audience beyond this show, and making sure there's a plan that relies on sort of, detailed execution to not just have the headline proposition and the offer and assume they're going to come, but actually really understand end to end all the details that make a company successful. And whether it's a big company or a small company starting off, and to be honest with you, many small companies fail because they don't think end to end. They think the product is so good, they think the proposition is compelling enough that they don't have to worry about those details. But small company, any successful small company has had to worry about the details. Many big companies don't, because they're massive and they got a lot of people and they're fragmented. So really that end-to-end detail is kind of what the common theme across big and small that's required for success.
Yeah. And Stephen, too, is we want to know, too, the secrets that you share, and I saw your son walk by, the secrets that you share with your son also about what things can he do to make an impact like you have made an impact.
So I don't know who that kid was behind me, to be honest. That's not my son. I'm just kidding. That was my son. So the secrets I share for him to have an impact, that's a damn, now you're getting into parenting. This is a contentious area right here. But to be honest with you, like it's very similar to what you'd share with an employee. Because from the I mean, it's not really a secret. It's the same stuff you hear athletes saying, bosses, workers, anybody who's successful, which is it's the work ethic and the hard work. So my son, for example, he plays football. He's a quarterback on the JV team. He's my son, so he's not going to be gifted athletically, although he's pretty athletic. But he's got to work harder than everybody else. And in business, same thing. You're starting a company. You got all the disadvantages. You don't have the resources. You don't have the scale. You don't have the might. You're going to have to work harder than everybody. And in the case of Boost, it's the same thing. We're the fourth player, and there's a big gap between us and number 3, AT&T or T-Mobile. Huge gap. They got more money. They got more customers. They got more resources. To close that gap, we're going to have to work harder and outwork people. And I think ultimately, I don't care where you look, whether it be Tom Brady, LeBron James, every successful sort of situation you look at, that person has worked hard. LeBron James, he's a physical beast, but he also works hard. That's why he's arguably the best player. It's not just because of his physical talents. So that's really from a parenting perspective, really what I focus on too.
Absolutely. Well, I got to tell you, Steve, you work harder. You've made in telecommunications your career. You drive innovation. You've risen to great heights in the field. That's a hero. Employing so many people too. And with that, again, CEO of Boost Mobile, over 8 million subscribers. By the time we're done, it'll be 9, and $4 billion in annual revenue. So you know where to go. And you know what? It's affordable, lower than all the others. So go to boostmobile.com. This has been David Kogan with the Alliance's Hero Show. Appreciate it. Steven, you got to dance with me too, all right? That's right.